everybody, welcome back. Today for you I have a review and swatched out and demo of the new Rimmel Magnif'Eyes eyeshadow and contouring palettes. These are hitting the drugstores now for spring of 2017. Each of these are a 12-pan palette that contain 12 eyeshadows, and there are 3 total in this collection. The one I have for you today here is 002 London Nudes Calling. The one I was really after was the Rose Nudes, and I'm telling you, that one is just wiped out, hard to find. And then the third one is more of a smokier toned one. This one is the kind of the one that's just like right in the middle of your, what I would call basic nude type shadows. So these palettes retail for $7.97 a piece at Walmart, and they roughly hover around that $8 range everywhere else. I think Target, they were $7.99. I think Walgreens, they were $7.99, somewhere around in there. So they all hover right around that $8 range no matter where you go. They are sometimes a little hard to find. Like I said, the one I was really after is completely wiped out at both the Walmart and the Walgreens in my particular area, because that's the one I was after. But I decided to go ahead and pick this one up and give it a try and swatch it out for you today. So let me show you the swatches up close. So that is them all swatched out. As you can see just from like looking at the swatches up close, some of these, and of course this was done with no primer, and I just did one finger swipe. Oops, got some of that in there. Some of them are a little bit chalky. So in here you got what I would call basic shades. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, you need basic shades every day, but they're pretty much basic shades. So I'm going to take you through and show you the demo on the eye look that I created for you today. So to get started, the only thing that this palette does not contain is a good like matte all over my eye color, which is something that I always like to do, just kind of set my eyeshadow primer. So I'm going to just dip into my Sweet Peach palette, because that's just what I have here, and I'm going to take the shade Peaches and Cream down here and just press that all over the lid and the whole space. Now that that's on and set down, like I said, I just like something to set my eyeshadow primer. I'm going to go here into the palette. I'm going to go into the 4th shade here, which is kind of this lighter shade. It's the only matte one in the palette, and that's what I'm going to use for my transition. Hopefully, we'll see if this is dark enough to create some definition in here for me and my skin tone. Unfortunately, that is not going to work for a transition shade for me. So I'm going to dip into my peach palette here. I'm going to go ahead and just take the shade Georgia then. Woo, sorry about that, didn't mean to blind you. Take the shade Georgia down here because I think this is really going to go well with the color scheme we've got going on in here anyway. And I know that this works well as a transition shade for me. So that worked out just fine. So now we're going to go into the palette. Unfortunately, these are a lot of shimmery shades, but I still feel like I'm going to be able to pull off a pretty good, okay look. I usually like matte things in my crease to blend out, but I think with this one, I'm just going to try and keep it as simple as possible. So the first thing I'm going to go into is actually the shade all the way down here at the bottom. So, or the last shade, not at the bottom. It's the bottom if I'm holding it like this. So I'm going to go into this last shade down here. These are pretty darn pigmented. I just, you know, tap just a little. Make sure you do tap off. They do kick up a little bit. And I'm just going to take that kind of like in the outer corner and into the crease. I kind of went in a little light at first because I really wasn't sure what you were going to get. You know, a lot of time when you finger swatch, it comes out a lot different when you start applying it with the brush. A lot different. I'm going to tuck this deepest shade down here, just really out in the outer V there, just really kind of tuck it in. It's a pretty, looks pretty plummy. So we're just going to do a little at a time and build it. This is these are pretty darn pigmented. Now I'm just going to take a clean blending brush here and just kind of, you know, back and forth windshield wiper motions. Just make sure everything's nicely blended. I kind of do circular motions at the corner. Okay, I think for the lid, and this is kind of, I think, my go-to with all eyeshadows. I like it bright and shiny on my lid and deep into dark in my outer corner. I think that's just the most flattering for my particular eye shape. I think for the lid, I'm going to hit this center, pretty much center color right here. This pink shade right here. I know it's kind of hard to tell. I'm sorry, my light kind of hit that plastic there. But I think I'm going to go with that all over the lid. I might add a little pop of this gold shadow next to it, just like in the center. So now I think, yeah, you know what? I think I am. I'm going to hit this gold color here that's right next to it. So it's this one right here, this pretty gold. I think I'm just going to pack that right on the center. Just right on the center. This actually might pick up better with my finger. This shade, it feels a little coarse, but it's just not, I thought it'd be just a little bit more pigmented, kind of like the shade sitting right next to it. But you know what? It's not bad. It's not that it's not pigmented enough. That's not really kind of the word I'm looking for. It's just not the finish I was expecting. Inner corner highlight, I'm going to go in with this champagne color right here, down at the very end. We'll see what this does. Ooh, well, that's pretty. That's nice and light and bright. I always like to put that pop on my inner corner. Ooh, I might want a little heavy over there. A little heavy. Get rid of some of that intensity. This is why I have 8,000 different brushes for my eyes, because I always use different ones. So I'm going to go ahead and go off camera. I'm going to put on some liner. I don't think I'm going to do wings today. I think I'm just going to do some liner. And then I'm going to come back and we'll finish up this eye look.
You videotaping? My bad.
You going to bed, or are you still watching?
Going to bed.
Aren't you pretty? So now I'm going to go in with my little tiny crease brush here, and I'm just going to deepen up my outer corner again, just a little bit, with this deepest shade that we used before. I always do that after liner, because then I can kind of judge, you know, kind of where my edge is, so to speak. I kind of like to use this little brush just to kind of lay it down so I don't go past where I don't want to go past. Does that make sense? So I'm going to take my blending brush. I'm going to go back in this first shade that I tried to use for transition that was a little bit too light, just because I'm going to blend this down just a little bit. And now I'm going to go in with that shade again, and I'm going to kind of highlight it up here above my brow bone. Kind of help blend out that outer edge. So I'm going to take that deepest, darkest plummy shade again, and I'm going to kind of just hit the outer corner of my lower lash line using a flat definer brush. And then I'm going to take this cream shade again and kind of help just blend that out using a pencil brush. So I'm going to finish off. I'm going to put on my mascara and then come back and show you up close. I think it turned out pretty well. I do feel it might be just a little bit patchy in these outer corners. They didn't come out as like deep as or the plummy deepness as I wanted to, but all in all, it's not bad. So what is my total overall feeling on this palette? I think this is actually a really, really good drugstore find. I think it's a very good palette. I wouldn't call this a complete palette though, just because you're really missing some of those matte midtones that you kind of need if you're wanting to do like a total and complete look sometimes. I feel that it's all shimmer. The only matte shade is this one right here, and unfortunately it just does not do enough for my skin tone as a transition. This could work on somebody with very fair skin, but with my skin tone it just pretty much blended into my skin, so you couldn't even tell where I really sat it down. But I do think there's some really, really great colors in here. And lots of friendly colors, I would say, and even some interesting ones, like this coppery orange one down here. That it looks like really super coppery in here, but I would have to say texture-wise that this is the patchiest one that is down in here. Even in the swatch, it kind of gets patchy. It likes, like the first swatch likes to cling and then it doesn't want to blend. I would say if you want to use this shadow full on, that would be great. And even probably foiled, it would work out fantastic. And if you're lacking colors like this in your collection, this is a great addition to it. And from the drugstore, it's nice to see them putting out these larger palettes of eyeshadows rather than just like your trios, your quads, which we're so used to. Something where you can create a couple different looks using this one product. So I think it's a pretty good value. I do wish though that my store would have had the rose one or the blushing one, because that's really the one I'm after. That's more so in my comfort zone of colors, but this one's not so bad. So all in all, I do think that it's a pretty good value. It is a pretty good deal, and I think if you're interested in something like this, you should go out and get it. So again, that is what I have for you today. I want to thank you, of course, as always, for spending some time with me. If you did did enjoy this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit that little button down below so you can keep up with me and all my videos here on my channel. And I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.